don't understand how it happened. You think you would have to.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition, uh, our midweek edition. Who we have on deck is somebody that's been MIA, and maybe he can tell us where he's been, what he's been doing. Welcome back,
Thank you.
Allan Lengel, Eastside Al of
Thank you very much. Yes, I spent a week in D.C. Soaking up the beauty of the politics there. And it was interesting. I mean, the thing that struck me, one of the things that there were National Guardsmen in downtown D.C., which is very safe. I mean, if downtown D.C. needs the National Guardsmen, then you can put National Guardsmen in downtown Detroit. I mean, there's tourists. There's police there and stuff like that. The guardsmen, it was 97 degrees. They were in all full gear, walking around, just sort of standing around, doing, in little clusters. And if they really wanted to go in some more high crime neighborhoods, but downtown DC is not a high crime neighborhood by any means.
Okay. We also have our downriver brother. I gave him a nickname last week, the Chief. What's up, the Chief?
Good evening. Happy to see everybody tonight. Happy to see Mr. Duckett, Hazel Park Taekwondo, and everybody else that's out there tonight. Thank you for joining us.
So listen, you guys already know what I'm getting ready to say. If you are watching the greatest show on these YouTube streets, you already know what we want you to do. We want you to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to make a comment, please do so in the comment section. Or you could take advantage of this code up here, take your phone and come onto the room and join us. This evening, Adolph will not be joining us. He'll be here Friday evening, but we are going to hold it down. So I'm going to let one of you guys to say what's the temperature on the primary election. The temperature is very, what would we say, Jim? What's the temperature on the primary? Are you talking about for me, or you talk about in general, Hazel Park Taekwondo?
I think they're talking.
I think it's about 275. We're gonna let Allan. He's got some.
Okay.
Allan gets the floor tonight because he's been gone for a little bit. So what's on Allan's mind? That's my thought, at least.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say in the primary, I mean, I think the hottest contested primary right now is the U.S. Senate, which the whole country is writing about. I mean, the Washington Post, Politico, New York Times. I think it's hotly contested for a couple reasons. One, the Democrats need a win; they can't lose a seat. And two, I think it's sort of a litmus test for what's going on around the country. I think in New York, we saw a lot of progressives from the Democratic Socialists winning in New York, and then we saw in Colorado where there was a victory there. And so I think people are wondering if it happens in Michigan, where it's more of a purple state, then maybe it is a trend, and it's not just an exception of more like heavily blue Democratic states. And so, it's a tough contest. I mean, somebody wrote something yesterday in the Detroit Free Press, a column, saying the race isn't about Israel, it's about AIPAC. And AIPAC is a lobbying group that lobbies on behalf of Israel. They've been pouring money into Haley Stevens because she is supportive of Israel. El Said is very critical and doesn't want any aid going to Israel. And so there's a lot of issues there. I think it is about, we have a big Middle Eastern population, particularly in Dearborn Heights. Hamtramck. We have a big Jewish population, particularly in Oakland County, Southfield, West Bloomfield, Farmington. And so there is a very keen interest on the issue of Israel. And so, but it's also about outside money. And people are criticizing Haley Stevens for taking a lot of corporate money, a lot of, money from AIPAC. And so I think it's a very hotly contested race. And Haley Stevens lately has come out ahead in the polls, but it's not a sure thing. The last WDIV Detroit News, the poll was her winning 48 to 41 with, I think, a 4.5% percentage error, margin. So it's fairly close. I don't think it's anyone's race. We saw Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, just backed El Said, AOC, Bernie Sanders. But on the other hand, we've got Haley Stevens, who's got Gary Peters, who was going to sit out the race, has decided to endorse her. She's got former Senator Debbie Stabenow, former Governor Jim Blanchard. And so it's going to be a tough, it's going to be close, I think.
So what do you think? What do you guys think about? You talked about Haley Stevens and Abdul El Sayed. What do you think about the congressional races, the 13th and the 12th congressional race?
I think, that's a tough one. I think Sri Thanadar is outspending McKinney. He's so high profile in terms of that. McKinney's got the backing of Bernie Sanders, Rashida Tlaib, and so I don't know. I think Shri's going to win, but I could be wrong. We'll see.
What about the 12th congressional district? You have.
I think Rashida Tlaib is. I think she's got that wrapped up.
Okay.
She's got a brand name. She's got a bigger support base. I think if she had run in the 13th congressional district like she had before, I think her job might be in jeopardy. But I think she's got a pretty solid lock there on the 12th. I don't know what you guys think.
Okay, what do you think, Jim?
I'm going to read a couple of comments, and I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
People say we need candidates with integrity. Miss Sheila, good evening, Miss Sheila. The 13th is going to be a fight. Shri spoiler could get on the ballot. I'm leaning that Shri will probably win. Money usually wins, Hazel Park, and it beats good candidates, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Republicans are going to get shellacked, in the words of Barack Obama. Israel is going to be a reason Haley gets shellacked. Tamari says. That's what Tamari says. I want to talk about that. Good evening, G Money. Good to see you. Let's talk about this Nolan case. 18-year-old mysteriously, allegedly drowned in Mississippi. Oak Park is a hub for the Jewish community in Bloomfield Hills. Miss Sheila and Melvindale. I think that's about it. Gary Peters is wrong for this one. Hazel Park. Derek Henry's out there. Good to see you. Deborah Harris. Don't want to miss Deborah. Good evening to you. We're good. We hope you're good. Tamari, we spoke about Tamari and Mr. Duck. We talked about them earlier. I want to just go in this direction. I'm not here to defend Haley Stevens, and I'm not here to defend Abdul Al Sayed. But I will just say this. We know where her money's coming from. What's the first word in AIPAC? What does the first word stand for in the A? What's the A in AIPAC?
American.
Okay, thank you. So it's not. So I guess I don't know that much about it, but are they feeding millions of dollars to Israel to fight a war over there? Is that the allegation that AIPAC is giving the Israeli government money? Just a question.
No.
Okay. So they're not giving Israel money to kill people.
They're a lobbyist group that wants members of Congress to support Israel.
Okay, thank you. That's my question. We jumped to the conclusion that we're saying AIPAC is associated with the Israeli government, and there is no indication that they are financing a war in the Middle East. Am I wrong?
No, they don't. They don't finance, but they want members of Congress to support.
Understand. So, saying that, and I'm not saying it's a good organization. They're the boogeyman. in politics today, and for good reason. All right. They're the NRA of 30 years ago. All right. I understand that. Sometimes we need a boogeyman. But my question is, and we talked about it a little bit, and I never mentioned who. There was a podcast where somebody was on a podcast and said, the question is, where is El Sayed getting his money? And this person didn't want to say where because he was afraid for his safety. So that's his own position. But my question is El Sayed running a grassroots campaign, or is El Sayed running a millionaires campaign? So
I think both. I think El Sayed had, he's gotten a lot of individual donors, but one of the donors he had gave $250,000. The guy runs a medical billing company, a national one, a big one, and he also collects medical debt, which El Sayed has always campaigned against. But so there are some groups like anti-Israel groups that are giving money to El Sayed. It's the way it works. I can tell you, when I worked in 1982, I worked as an intern for an investigative columnist, Jack Anderson, and Israel had invaded Lebanon to go up to East Beirut to try to clear out the PLO. And our office had 18 reporters. And the State Department was anti-Israel. The CIA was pro-Israel. And they knew which reporters to feed what to. They had their pro-Israel reporters, their anti-Israel. Washington that's the way it works. There's all types of people lobbying people,
So they all owe somebody something, is what I'm getting at. Sayed, either candidate owes somebody something when they get elected, regardless of whether it's Mike Rogers, El Sayed, or Haley Stevens. They're all indebted to some of these groups. To suggest that he's not taking corporate money, and I appreciate that, but that doesn't mean he's not taking money from other huge interests.
He's taking some big donations from people who happen to own big businesses or whatever. But he's certainly taken a lot less of the bigger money than she has. It's pretty lopsided in terms of the money she's getting for funding.
Not her. Somebody that's advocating on her behalf.
Yeah, PACs who are supporting. Our system is so fucked up. It's like there are so many PACs that, nonprofits that don't have to disclose who their donors are. And it makes, it makes the system corrupt that way,
Vanessa?
You're on mute. She's on mute.
I'm sorry. I was coughing, and I decided I don't want you guys to hear me cough, so I mute myself. So what's the temperature? I say that when I talk to people, I talked to someone right before we went on air. It doesn't appear as if people in my circle are really excited about the candidates. It appears to me that, and I would say for myself, I this is a tough one. So I would agree with Allan in the sense that, you really don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't rub a crystal ball and tell you who it would be, but I can tell you the consensus seems to be that people aren't really excited about the candidates that we have. And so I think it's going to be quite interesting when we see what happens at the end of the day. I will say that in the 13th Congressional District, which is where I live, I agree that Sri Thanadar is spending a whole lot of money. Why is he spending a whole lot of money? Because I believe that he really feels threatened. I think it's also interesting that you have a congressperson, his colleague, that's in the 12th district, who has decided that she's going to support his opponent, his challenger, if you will. And I always look at things like this. Why are you challenged? Why are you support? Because I was told and I experienced that people usually don't go against their colleagues. If they're going to support somebody else, they do it very quietly. Um, Congresswoman Tlaib has been very loud about who she's supporting, as well as Bernie Sanders. I will say with Donovan McKinney, I think this commercial that they're showing with Maddie Maroon, and this is Shree's commercial, and he says, he has received money from uh, basically, someone that's associated with President Trump. And I would just challenge folks to say, listen, these people throw money around to all of these candidates. It doesn't matter if it's a DRR. It matters about, is my agenda. I want to push forward my agenda. So you know what? I'm just going to spread it around. I'm going to gamble. And so whoever gets it, I still have favor with them. And I think that people need to look at that. So when you look at these commercials and you hear these ads, just think outside of the box. Think larger than what you see in front of your television screen. So that's my thought. I'm telling you, of course, I'm going to participate in the process. As a matter of fact, I've indicated that I volunteer in the voter protection program. I've done my training. I will be somewhere making sure that people aren't intimidated and that the process is adhered to. And I'll be happy to report when we get back that next day on the show as to what I experienced and what I saw. So that's my opinion.
Should we take a break?
Real quick, I would say Rashida is trying to do some power building. She's trying to build a big political base and have influence. Like Bernie Sanders has his tentacles all over the country. I think she's trying, at least in Michigan, to try to spread those tentacles. So.
Oh, do you think that she's trying to, because there's let's be clear, Donovan McKinney is an African American. There's been talk for years about the lack of African American representation, although we do have John James in Congress. Do you think that has anything to do with it? Is she motivated by the fact that people really pissed off at her as it relates to this last presidential election? We'll cut to a commercial.
Yeah, we'll come back. Yeah.
Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening's edition.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, including gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in the midterms. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information, call or visit us online.
We're back, Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition. I'm a little not as excited as I was Saturday and Friday. I'm actually tired today. I had a long day in court. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about.
The point that I was making is that I wonder, and there are other people who wonder whether or not the motivation is, part of what you said, Allan, but are you really motivated because the community that you represent a lot of people were very upset with you because of what happened in the last presidential election. And so, you know what? I'm going to allow him to hitch his train to mine, and hopefully we'll be able to make it to DC. And which, by the way, uh, they're making a big deal about Donovan McKinney getting money from Maddie Maroon. Shree probably didn't need any money from her, but I'm like positive that the person who represented before Shree got money from Maddie Maroon, but Talib got money from Maddie Maroon.
Right.
she got money from him, and I would gather. I would say that the person who was in the 14th district before got money from Maddie Maroon. So I mean, and that I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
everybody gets.
I think with
exactly.
I think Rashida, when I talk about her building up, also Shree has been supportive of Israel. She is not. McKinney is aligned with her and Bernie Sanders, who have both been very critical of Israel. So I think that has a part of it. I'm not sure she cares so much. I mean, it doesn't hurt for her to be affiliated with a black candidate because, as you say, I mean, she was criticized really for taking a black seat. She was the one who really started it after Conyers was there. She took the seat for 2 terms, and then Shree came in there. But you know, it was also because there were too many black candidates, and Shree took advantage. There were like 7 or 8 black candidates, and there was Shree. So everyone split up the vote, and Shree took his little, you know, cut of the pie. And so I don't know. I think she's very safe where she is right now. I don't think she has to worry so much. But I think she didn't like Shree because I remember she was bitching about Shree that some of Shree's constituents were calling her office for help. Over in the 12th, and so I don't think they have a very good relationship. So
as a constituent, I mean, when you say safe, what does that safe means? That, excuse me, she maintains her seat, but does that mean that there's going to be anything different in terms of her representation for the 12th congressional district? I'm just asking the question.
Oh, I think she's got Dearborn Heights, you know, western part of Detroit. Which has a sizable Muslim Arab population. I think where she gets more opposition and not as much support is in Southfield, where the Jews and the blacks are, and I think they're more open to voting for somebody else. But I think she's got. I don't think they've ever found a strong candidate to run against her. So
yeah,
and as our friend Hazel Park Taekwondo said, she takes money from everywhere. She has a big war chest, so she has the money to spread around. Comments in? Do you want to get some comments, Vanessa?
Go ahead, Jim. You can go ahead.
Okay, I'll read some really quickly. We never see Shree until he starts to run again for office. To Mary, thank you. G Money, Southeastern Michiganders are not motivated to vote in these upcoming elections. They are around the corner. And that being said, name recognition will prevail across the board, point blank, period. I think that's logical. Do the candidates, Ms. Sheila, have integrity in real life unless we're going to continue moving on the money dance? Nothing is for righteous perspective. It's sad for future citizens are watching all behavior. James Kyle Duncan, thank you for joining us. Bernie is an idiot. Rogers wins Senate in Michigan. Hold that thought, Mr. Duncan. And does he win over both candidates or just one? Talib gets money from everywhere. Again, Hazel Park, go GOP. James Kyle Duncan, MAGA rules. I think we know where you're coming from, Mr. Duncan.
He's a friend. He's trolling a little bit. He is a Republican, but he's trolling, knowing that he's trying to push my buttons.
That's okay.
We have a big pen here. We have a big pen. He
I'm just explaining what he's saying. Take it with a little grain of salt. He's just kind of messing around.
Well, he said it. I mean, I'm gonna give him credit for what he said.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard you right. You said that take his opinion with a grain of salt.
His comments. I'm not dismissing his comments is not correct, but I know him well, and he's just sort of throwing out some of the stuff, the MAGA stuff.
We're glad he joined us. That doesn't make him a troll. That's
I think he's the only person who watches the show that is
he's a good friend.
Okay.
He lives in Ohio.
Okay. All right.
Oh, he lives in Ohio. I was on his
Listen,
side until just a second ago. No, I'm just kidding.
whether
Black
you
issues
troubled
are
or not, we like the fact that you're watching the show and that you're
Yeah, yeah.
participating. Thank you.
He's a troublemaker.
That's okay. We like trouble.
back to Tamari.
As long
Black
as-
issues are always put on the back burner for everyone else's issues. Barack Obama on down. If you see Shree's Washington staff on the ground, Kenneth Reed, here then it will show you that he's in a bit of trouble. I think Shree has a pole in the field. Kenneth Reed has shown that the race is. I think the race probably is competitive.
I think it is. I really do. I really, really do.
Well, you know
G-Money
what,
wants to talk about it. Go ahead.
Shree has the benefit of spending congressional money. They're allowed to spend so much to tell the constituents what they're doing, and he has taken full advantage of that. And that's besides he has his own money, but he's taken full advantage of that. So,
Well, I met Shree and I've had a little interaction with Shree and Kenneth. He always feels vulnerable. He's a very nervous guy. So
yeah,
if you've talked to him, he's very uneasy. He's very concerned about who's coming up behind him. That's just who Shree is, I think. My opinion.
So
I don't care what anybody says. G-Money, Nolan's friends know exactly what happened to him. I think you're probably right about that, G-Money. We want a black candidate because they will represent the black agenda. Shree is not represented black people agenda. Shree has represented Shree pretty well. Thank you to Mary. Backhand 313, thank you for being a part of the show. We can't expect widespread political literacy and engagement when the country as a whole has been stripping out things that make participating in our politics, like stripping education and the middle class. Thank you, Backhand. I read an article today that was talking about us not educating our young people, and that's why, we have people that are on the fringe on both ends because we didn't educate them well enough. And I thought there was some logic to that article I read. Donovan messed up when he had Talib on his team, Hazel Park, Taekwondo. No money for weapons to continue genocide in Israel's name. Again, that's a question that I want to, AIPAC is an American organization. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I just think that, people are acting like they're giving billions of dollars to Israel to fight a war, and I just don't think that's the case. Good evening, Jill. It's good to see you. We need to touch on something that you and I agreed on. I mean, we agree on most things, don't we? But about the voter registration in New Jersey, I'd like to talk about that a little bit tonight. Stephanie Jackson's out there. Hello, Stephanie. Haley takes AIPAC money. Tamari wants to talk about Nolan Wells' case, and AIPAC equals genocide. Derek Henry. Trace the doctor money, his and Talib, Hazel Park. We hope voters are independent. A vote for Haley is a vote for genocide. Shree will shock everyone and lose. I think we're about caught up. The 12th needs to be flipped. We need a candidate with integrity. Go ahead, Allan.
Somebody was asking if they thought the bridge was going to open. I mean,
Right.
First of all, Trump screwed up by imposing these tariffs, these punitive tariffs again against Canada, which Canada is such they're like a suburb of the United States. I mean, we speak the same language. We have, General Motors has plants over there. The UAW, has unions over there. I mean, it's absurd that we've taken on such a hostile thing. So they're going to have their own celebration over in Windsor, but they're not going to celebrate with the Americans. Americans don't have any plans at the very moment. There was talk, people were raising questions whether the bridge will actually open on Monday. I think it will, because it's starting to hurt people like Mike Rogers, the Republicans. I think the Gordie Howe Bridge is a very popular bridge among people. People are curious. It's a beautiful bridge. You can ride your bike and walk across it for free as long as you have the proper identification. But I think people are anxious for the bridge to open, and they want it to open. It's a popular thing. So I think the longer that Trump delays it, I think it's going to hurt people like Mike Rogers, who's running, So that's I think they're going to open it. So
Who's gonna benefit from it?
well, hopefully both sides.
Riding your bike across and being able to go across. This is look. Everything in these United States of America is all about the money. Who's making the money off of this? You could talk about how pretty it is and how nice it is to ride your bike, but who really benefits from this? That's a question.
All right. Well, I mean, first of all, what happened was in 2018, the state of Michigan didn't want to pay anything for the bridge. So Canada said, fine, we'll pay whatever. It ended up being like $4.7 billion. We'll pay for it. We'll get all the toll revenue until we reclaim all our money. And then, so Trump said, oh, we need a better deal. So finally they reached a deal where they said, okay, for 15 years after we get paid all our expenses and the payments and stuff like that, we'll split the net profit, which is going to be very little. But to appease Trump, for Trump to show that, oh, I'm a smart guy, I'm a great businessman. But it's going to be commerce going back and forth. I mean, what's going to happen is it's going to bypass downtown Windsor. Trucks that are coming from here, taking product into Canada, are going to be able to get there quicker, and vice versa. And so I think, I think everyone's going to benefit.
And I'll just, Alan, if I could add to that,
yeah, sure.
When a truck spends 4 hours waiting to cross the bridge, that's thousands of dollars. When people don't get to their destination, when they have commerce in the back of their truck, whatever it is, right? Building materials or cement or whatever it may be, automotive parts that are coming back and forth. If you drive down 75, because I live on the south end of the city, sometimes those trucks wait for, those guys are getting paid $50 an hour. Whatever, the diesel is expensive. I would venture to guess there's probably 100 or hundreds of thousands of dollars each day that is lost because of the speed of the Ambassador Bridge or lack thereof.
Right. Somebody asked how many people died. There's no record of anyone dying building that bridge. I mean, you can go to other countries. You can go to the Middle East, like some of the really wealthy countries where they import people to like clean windows and skyscrapers, and people are dropping to their deaths there. People have gone from India, whatever, to make some money. But there's no evidence, or there are no reports of any deaths from this bridge building of it.
So let's pivot. We want to talk about two things. Our family wants to talk about Nolan Wells, so we'll go around and you could give your opinion. And then I think there was something that you want to talk about. We could close the from 9:15 to 9:30. We could close it out talking about what we talked about before we went hot. What's your thoughts on Nolan Wells?
I just don't think there's enough. I mean, they released some reports and stuff like that, and it's inconclusive. I don't know. I don't, they're obviously suspicious at something.
Are you suspicious? What do you think?
I don't know. I've been trying to follow it, and I haven't seen any. I mean, the guy drowned, but the question is, how did he drown when he was with a group of friends? But I don't know. I mean, could somebody have gotten in a fight with him and pushed him in the water?
You don't know how you feel about it? You're conflicted about it?
Well, I just don't know. I just don't have any evidence to say. I mean, if I had some feeling that something improper happened, then I'd have stronger feelings. But I don't think anybody has any evidence of that yet. As far as I know, what I followed, if somebody does, fill me in,
Okay.
Well, I want to come a little closer to home. All right. Mm-hmm. What the heck happened up at Bliss Fest? Bliss Fest is a little music festival up near Harbor Springs, and the suggestion is a man, and I was going to look up his name. I don't have it here. Was allegedly in his tent, and someone tried to decapitate him. Okay, he's biracial. I like to know what's going on right here in Michigan, because that's a problem up there, and that's a little. I don't know if anybody knows. It's just west of Lake Michigan. I mean, sorry, just east of Lake Michigan up there, up near like northeast of Harbor Springs. Just a little small town. I don't know if anybody's followed that story.
I haven't.
I have not.
I have not. But
tell us what you know. Go ahead.
People are talking about it now. Let me see if I can find the man's name. It looks like someone tried to cut his head off while he was asleep, is what the argument is. Severely injured at Bliss Fest Music Fest. Auburn Hills man 37, was recovering after suffering devastating injuries at a music festival in northern Michigan. Is calling for answers. Lon Hartman was found Sunday morning, July 12th, naked inside his tent at Bliss Fest in Harbor Springs with deep lacerations to his neck. He lost 8 pints of blood and was hospitalized in northern Michigan. I don't know how he's doing now, but I don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that. I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Right. So when as it relates to Nolan Wells, I would tell you how I feel about it. I think it's a sad doggone shame that you go out with your so-called friends, you end up dead, and nobody have any answers. Why do I feel I have very strong feelings about that? Because as you all know, I talk about my brother that was murdered. My brother was with his friends. And when my parents found out that, he had been shot to death, nobody knew anything. He left with a group of friends. Okay. Mm-hmm. Eventually a person was arrested and he was tried and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is this. My feelings is I'm very sad about it. I'm very hurt. What kind of friends are they? What kind of people are they? That you couldn't, his phone was missing. Their text messages going back and forth has been erased. Listen, I'm mad at the parents who automatically, immediately lawyered up. But if this is your friend and you guys all left together, what happened?
Well, that's an alibi is what that is.
Exactly. So I'm really pissed off about it because those same people that was with him, they know what happened.
What have they said? I mean, what has come up during? Obviously, they've all been interviewed. I see here
that they said it revealed the preliminary autopsy because they had an autopsy. It reveals 7 unanswered questions after he vanished on a trip with friends. So I have not gone through the.
What did the friends say? Any idea what the
nothing?
Friends,
they lawyered up.
Nothing. Okay. Well,
their phones, their text messages were all of a sudden deleted, which is stupid because you guys already know, Jim. You know that they can retrieve that.
Of course. They'll recover all that information.
For me, when I hear, I don't know, I don't have enough evidence. Well, hell, you know that he left with several friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he was on a boat with several friends.
Right.
And we know that he's dead. I feel a way about it. That's how I feel about it. Okay.
I mean, whatever it is, it's tragic. And if all your, like I said, I haven't followed everything, but I knew they released the autopsy, and the autopsy was the second autopsy was inconclusive. But yeah, I mean, if the friends aren't cooperating and they've gotten a lawyer, that's highly suspicious. Why would you? If I went with a group of friends and one of my friends ended up drowning, why on earth would I get a lawyer? I can't imagine, what could possibly have happened that I would need, and my friend. Why I would do everything possible to help out. So,
well, here's what they need. They need professional investigators. They need federal help. They need state help. I don't know exactly where it happened. Is Mississippi? Is that where it happened?
Mississippi. Yep.
Well, I can tell you that there's a lot of departments there that probably don't have the resources to deal with this type of an investigation, and they should be reaching out to the investigative groups, whether it's the FBI or whomever that can help them. And if there's no federal involvement, I have a huge problem with it, or state involvement.
Right. I agree. I mean, it sounds like at this point, it's become a big deal. It's become a national story. Everybody wants answers. And so
here, I'm going to go over some of the questions. The doctor that performed the autopsy, he says there are 7 unanswered questions in his autopsy report. These include: what were the circumstances that led to Wells entering the water? What position was the body in when found? And was there any water in the airway which would indicate drowning? And then, of course, you have Ben Crump, who's involved in this case. So, it's a very high profile, but he was found face down, fully clothed, despite photos from the day showing him shirtless, wearing swimming trunks. They show the picture of him with his friends.
Right.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing also is that somebody has said the FBI has refused to help, and that's not true. The FBI is assisting the Jackson County Sheriff's Department in the case. And it would be highly unusual if any authority, another department said, we need your help, the FBI. The FBI has a lot of resources that other departments don't have. And they're always, and they are working on this. They're not going to be the lead agency unless there's some jurisdiction that gives them that type of, jurisdiction, but they certainly are assisting the Sheriff's Department in the investigation.
And in my experience, I'll just tell you, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to finish this up and then you could go ahead, Jim. It says the pathologist added that he still wants to know if there is any evidence of injuries to the front of the neck or the throat or evidence of a brain bleed. As you said, Allan, there's a lot of questions, but to me, the main question is you left with your friends. You were on a boat. You guys took pictures and nobody know what the hell happened. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say, as a local police chief and an investigator at one time with the state and also with the federal agency, I'm going to tell you this. There's state SWAT teams, there's state investigative teams, there's federal investigative teams, there's all kinds of organizations out there that would be, and I would expect they would be on board and be on site. Did you say it was Jackson County, Mississippi?
Yeah, sure.
They would be there that afternoon. I would be shocked. Tamara made her comment, Allan said that's not correct. And I would be shocked if there weren't police agencies
they are involved,
fighting to help solve this crime.
Right, sure. And look, the FBI loves to be, come in and take bows if they help solve the case. Do we need to do, have we done commercials twice?
We should do another one. I'm going to get to Parr's point about APAC.
Okay. Yep, all right.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, and that includes gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in the midterms. Your vote is your voice. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote and encourage family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information on how and when to vote, call 313-876-0190 or go to detroitmi.gov/elections. When we vote, we don't just choose leaders, we choose the future of our community. Vote.
We're back, Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evenings edition with the Chief, Jim Nardone, and Eastside Allan Lengel. Go ahead, Jim, you were about to say something.
I just want to say thank you to Parr. Newsflash to Jim. APAC is about controlling this republic. That's the United States, I think you're talking about, and they're not interested in sharing power. These people are like the British. They are the disturbers of peace. I was not disputing that, and I understand they're spending tens or many millions of dollars in every election cycle to garner power, but they're not the only ones. So my only point to you is the way the system's set up, they can invest whatever they want in trying to control politicians in Washington, and that's what they do. That's what so many other organizations do.
I mean, we do have. I mean, you're right about that. I mean, here in Michigan, the DeVos family spends a lot of money in races, trying to influence races. I mean, you have the NRA. You have a lot of lobbyist groups like that. But I think, and AIPAC supports Israel. I mean, I don't like that they are unconditionally supportive of Netanyahu in the government, who I think is a bad guy, and he's got some bad guys in his cabinet. And very similar to the Israeli people, half the country or more feels the same way about Netanyahu that at least half the country feels about Trump. They wish they were both gone. And but it's I mean, these races, people are raising questions. Well, how much influence these lobbying groups should have in our local elections.
The system's broken, right? The system's broken, but they're playing within the rules, whether you like what their role is. They are American citizens, and I think we lose that. We think they're the Mossad or whoever they are. They're American citizens.
I mean, you have to ask. I mean, it seems like we're not as reliant heavily on the oil in the Middle East like we were previously. But when you have to ask yourself, why does America have such a great interest in the Middle East? I mean, you see what's happening now with Iran. Iran is bombing military installations in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in Qatar. There's the Central Command. It's not all because of Israel, to protect Israel. They have interest in that region, and they're spending a shitload of money on it. And so you have to ask yourself, what is it financially? Like I say before, when the U.S., when Iraq invaded Kuwait, which is a very oil-rich country, we were there in 93, I think it was, or I can't remember what year it was, 91, 90.
Around 90, 91.
Yeah, with H.W. Bush, and we went in and protected Kuwait. And so that area is a very politically complicated area there. And there's a lot of history, and there's a lot of craziness there, and a lot of divisiveness and warring over every religious faction, and, fighting within and fighting outside and whatever. So. Anyways.
So we're back. I'm sorry, somebody was texting me. So Nolan Wells story will be a continuing story. One of the other things that they said that was a problem was that his stomach was missing. So we don't know what contents was in his stomach, and there was something his lungs was missing. It's just it smells bad, it's bad. Those are not friends as far as I'm concerned. So
if you're lawyering up, I mean, that's really that's inexplicable that you would lawyer up something's going on. If everyone's getting a lawyer, and they're not talking, I mean, I just don't. If that is the case, then it's crazy.
Yeah, well, the state of G Money says the state of Mississippi is completely wrong on how they are investigating this case. Not one single friend was brought in for direct questioning, and not anyone has been deeply interviewed. Very sad. This is why I keep my circle small. Kenneth Reed, say that. Stephanie says, how was the body still there after 2 days of low and high tides? Miss Suzuki, thank you so much for checking in. One of the friends' step parents is a judge, and Fred Allen said 8550 says Cash Patel ? No help is coming. Yep, his phone was wiped clean. I thought I said that, but yeah, it's just very sad. So there was something else that you want to talk about, Allan. We have about 10 minutes, so I didn't want you to think that we're ignoring you. So you want to go to your story. You had a story in Deadline Detroit.
Are you talking about Kwame or about?
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about.
I was going to say, yeah, I wrote about Kwame. I mean, Detroit News had a story, and I think it was a little bit off. They were saying that he hadn't paid property taxes on his $1.1 million home in Novi for nearly 4 years, and he's behind 2 years on his property taxes. He's owed like $22,000 in 2024. He's paid down $5,000 of that, and he says he's going to catch up. If you go 3 years, the county can foreclose on your property if you go without paying taxes for that long. So he says that they're going to be able to be up to date, and they're not behind by 3 years right now. But Charlie Langton started a show on Fox 2 at 4 o'clock. And his first guest is Kwame Kilpatrick. And so let me play just a couple quickies here.
I paid $1,500 in September.
Do you think you owe any restitution to the city of Detroit?
Absolutely not. It's a ridiculous.
Zero.
It's a ridiculous number. Listen, Charlie, in my case, you know the case. There was no misuse of public funds, no charges or no convictions. There was no stealing of any money ever in that case.
True.
There's no miss money, and there was no loss to the city.
And then there's one more here.
Money these days.
Well, I speak around the country. I have an opportunity to share some of the tragedy, some of the sins, some of the missteps, some of the failures that I've had in my life, and hopefully encourage somebody else not to do the same.
What do you tell those people? What do you tell those people?
I tell those people this in a nutshell, that I never had a problem with confidence. I never had a problem with boldness. I didn't have a problem walking in the room, but as a man, I had a problem with character and integrity.
Let me ask you this.
And that's what you need if you want to be something.
When the first judge, you were the mayor of Detroit, and we don't have to go back all the things. They said, jail. You're going to jail. What went through your mind?
What? You know what? I was the only kid on Linwood and the Boulevard that really thought I would never go to jail. I did my homework. I cut people's grass and raked their leaves. I went to school. I didn't think that would do it. And I just want to tell somebody out there, it's not about the crime as much as it is about your character and integrity. You can put yourself in a bad situation, a horrible situation, a criminal situation, if you don't work on those things at the same veracity and intensity you work on your acumen.
Look.
Well,
you start off with saying, I like Kwame. Okay. My question is, why is he still a news cycle? Listen, he got out of jail. He got the get out of jail free card. Great. You've appealed, and they keep telling you, no, you owe this money. You have this personality, have you on television, asking you about something that we know that you owe, and you're on television telling us about how your house is going in foreclosure because you owe this bill. You knew that when you got out. You knew that. Maybe you should have thought about buying a house that was much more affordable because you knew that you had this outstanding bill. Because what you do know, former mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, minister, lawyer, is that you can appeal all you want. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. In your case, the likelihood was that you were going to owe this debt. So I personally am finding it very it's not even difficult. I don't feel sorry for you. As a matter of fact, I'm annoyed that you even on our television screen. That's how I feel about it. Go ahead, Jim.
I would just add that, Mr. Kilpatrick, it is about the crime, and I'll leave it at that.
He said, it
doesn't matter what you say, it's about the crime.
I was bold. I didn't lack confidence. I was bold. I forgot what other adjective he used, but it was about integrity and character.
And Mr. 1213 said he'd been a great mayor. Yeah, he'd been a great mayor if he'd had all those things that he recognized now he didn't have. But I still don't hear him saying, I really screwed up. I'm guilty. I should take care of the citizens that I.
Well, I think his argument. I think people would like, particularly as a minister, people would like to have him just say, yes, I took bribes. Yes, I rigged cases so my buddy could get a contract, part of the contract. Yes, I dodged the IRS, all that stuff. And what he says is it's true, but it's, it's the way he says it. He'll say, I never stole anything. Well, is a bribe, there were people who testified that they bribed him. Is that he didn't steal from the coffers, but the jury found that he was guilty of taking bribes. He fixed a rig. He rigged a bid that Bobby Ferguson got a part of, and it ended up costing, according to the prosecutors and the jury, ended up costing the city of Detroit more money. So he conveniently, he's a charming guy, but I think he's always just kind of still. People want you're a preacher. You want people to confess and come clean and be who you are and cleanse yourself of whatever. And he is still not totally 100% coming clean on that.
He's still.
And I apologize to Mr. 1213.
Oh my God, you're so nice.
I moved on. I didn't read his whole point.
Right.
Had he not gotten into trouble, absolutely, he would. He certainly had the potential to be a good mayor. Yeah. He had the charisma. He had all that. We can't forget our viewers out there. Vanessa, you want to read some of the comments?
Yes. I think Kenneth Reed said, "Is he still a news story?" That's what I said. I was like, "Why is he even doing this? Why is he? Why? Just why?"
I'll comment on that when you want.
Mary says, ever since the 1967 war, the Palestinians have been occupied by the Ashkenazi, I don't know how to pronounce that, trying to take their land and occupying them. Tamari said, she said F. I think that's what she said. E-F.
Yeah.
Yeah, button.
All right. Yeah. You also have G Money Hollywood, who says the media needs to back off Kwame. It's evident that he still has charisma, and I guess he makes for a ratings grab since local mainstream media is suffering for viewers. It's sad. Kwame is lucky Trump freed him. Tamir says, say that, Vanessa. I already said what Kenneth said. Janet says, well said, Miss Vanessa. Jill said, and
we had one other topic that I was going to try and discuss with. I don't know if we'll have time, but
the integrity and character is necessary in my real life. Thank you. That's Miss Sheila. We still have crooks running our city using ill-gotten gains to set themselves up for a life while people die. Wow. What was so different from Duggan's regime versus Kilpatrick's regime? It sounds like that got at least one thing in common. They both have awarded friends contracts. Kwame has had his walk in the sun. It's time to move on. And Tamari says, all hell is going to break loose in Mississippi if those friends aren't arrested. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was just going to briefly talk. We had some discussion. Allan wasn't here about the SAVE Act and how, I guess, to a person, we all thought it was probably ridiculous legislation and seemed just out of whack that anybody would think that people were registering to vote and they were voting in our elections. And I, for one, as well as Jill Sheridan said, it's ridiculous. I am absolutely in total shock that somewhere between 6,600 and 35,000 undocumented people registered to vote in New Jersey. Now, I'm not saying there was some kind of trickery going on there, but I guess my question is not that it happened, but how the heck did it happen? How did these people get registered to vote that were not documented citizens? I'm overwhelmed because I just would have never expected this to happen.
I think it was a major screw up by a company that was running the software on that. And I think people who registered to get driver's licenses, which you don't need to be a citizen, they mistakenly, a lot of times when you go sign up for a driver's license, they register you to
But
vote.
you have to ask to. They ask you. You don't. It's not automatic, right?
I'm not sure how that.
I
Well,
don't think it's
whatever.
automatic.
It apparently was automatic.
Yeah.
In this case, and I mean that's the concern. I think ultimately, you know, if you really want to have people have proof of citizenship, you've got to do something long term and say in 10 years or in 8 years or whatever, here's a deadline. By then, everybody has to get a birth certificate or a passport or whatever. But, you know, if you throw it right now and you say, okay, starting in November, you've got to have that. You know how many people are not going to vote? Do you have your birth certificate? You know, I mean, I have a passport, and I have my birth certificate somewhere, but majority of people, there's a lot of people who would not vote if you sprung it on them very quickly. If you did it over said in 8 years, everybody is going to have it. So start now. Let's try to get it going. And we're going to assist people with we'll set up whatever. We'll set up places where you can come right away, and we'll print out your birth certificate, and we'll take care of it. If they want to get there, it's a complicated thing. Or if there's a computer system where you should be able to feed in every voter, and they should be able to match up records in the United States or something. You know, I'm not against ultimately, but to spring it on people in short time, a lot of people just aren't going to vote. And I think that really is not the intent of America, you know, of trying to find ways to get. I mean, Trump is hoping, you know, a lot of people aren't going to have their birth certificate, and we're thinking more Republicans will have it. Whatever. It's foolish thinking anyways. But
I'm shocked that it happened. Exile of the Knights of Malta now made a bunch of great points tonight. Do you want to get to some of those, Vanessa, or you want to move on? I don't want to ignore.
You could go ahead and read them.
Their point. You have to get into what corruption is to understand what it's not, apparently. Fred Allen asked if they were citizens. They answered no, but the computer switched to yes. Mr. Duncan says Democrats can't win. People are confused about what corruption is. We need to focus on that and make that clear. There is no cross-check for citizenship, Stephanie. Mail-in ballots, I don't know if he's saying they're good or bad. Leave the Ashkenazi and the Bolsheviks alone. Corruption is not ethnicity, nationality, race, or religion. Thank you for all your comments, Exile. We weren't ignoring you. We're moving fast. Duncan says the SAVE Act is needed. I know we missed a few tonight, and you have my apologies. Yeah. Duggan was more corrupt than Kwame, but Duggan had a complexion for the protection. Kwame got caught. Stephanie, go ahead, Allan.
I was going to say, I want to urge all the people out there, all the people in Ohio, to write in James Kyle Duncan as a write-in for U.S. Senate. So
in Michigan or in Ohio?
Ohio. So if there's any other Ohioans out there, please write in James Kyle Duncan as U.S. Senator.
Wow. So hopefully I will have a jolt of energy by Friday. But listen, are you guys listening? We want you guys to come back. We want you guys to come back on Friday evening at 8:30 p.m. Okay? Come on back, fam. We're going to have a lively, intelligent, funny conversation about all things that's going on. If you want to revisit some of the topics that we had tonight, feel free to do so. In the meantime, in between time, what I want to do is say, be safe. Thank you so much. Shout out to Lady T, who produces the show for us. Thank you so much. We love you. We see you guys on Friday. You guys take care. Bye.